So one of my most highly requested videos on my channel has been my controller binds and what are the best controller binds, because in settings videos most people look for sensitivity, but there's always people asking about binds in the comment section. So this video is going to be for you guys. So in this video I'm basically going to go over the best controller binds for every single controller grip that there's out there, meaning non-claw no paddles, non-claw plus paddles, and also claw grip. So whatever you play, you will benefit from today's video. And I know most of y'all boys who play Fortnite on controller always play and you always think like, could I improve? Am I actually using the best binds possible? So in this video, I'm going to answer all those questions and give you guys the best binds for any controller grip out there. I also just uploaded a cash cup video on my second channel. It will be linked in the description so you guys can watch it after watching today's video. My second channel is basically going to be a bunch of cash cup videos and ranked gameplay. So if you guys are interested, you can check it out in the description. But if you go ahead to enjoy today's video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe with notifications turned on. And also it will mean a lot to me, boys, if you guys could use code Splashy in the Fortnite item shop, boys. It will mean a lot to me. But yeah, let's get into the video. So we're going to start off with non-claw no paddles binds. So our aim here, boys, is to make sure that we don't lift our thumbs from the L3 and R3 stick as much as we possibly can, right? We just want to keep these thumbs on those sticks at all times, because that's going to determine if we're smooth or stiff during fights and gameplay. So you want to make sure that your L3 is your edit bind. The bind that you move your character with is going to be the edit bind, because your thumb is always going to be there when you move. So when you're building, you can always access the edit bind without using too much effort. Your R3 bind is going to be jump. Now, when you have jump as your R3 bind, it's going to make you smooth on non-claw no paddles. You can build, jump, and edit at the same time without looking stiff. So if you're just having your builds out by themselves and you don't take your weapon out, don't pickaxe, nothing, you're just building with R3 jump, you're going to be extremely smooth. And that's going to be the secret to being smooth when you edit and fight. When it comes to your switch mode, you want to make sure your switch mode is your down D-pad. Alright, and your pickaxe is right D-pad. So you might be wondering, well, Splashy, isn't that gonna make me stiff? How am I meant to, reach it, whatever, right? No, it's not. And I'm gonna give you guys a secret now that 99% of controller players don't know. So if you put your hand on your controller, right, and then you put your thumb on the L3 stick, right, if you just move it slightly to the down D-pad, you can actually tell that you can press on it just like this I'm doing in game. You can move and press on it at the same time. So I'm using for my down D-pad as pickaxe, but you guys want to make sure that it's switch mode because you're playing non-claw no paddles. And then your right D-pad is going to be pickaxe. So you can actually access both of these binds without removing the left thumb from the L3 stick. You can just lift it up a little bit and then press both of them super fast a few times, how many times you want, without looking stiff and losing momentum. Now you cannot do this with the R3. You cannot lift your thumb from R3 or drag it to the X or square of your controller binds, because the R3, as you guys can see on the screen, this is where you look around. So it's going to make a big difference if I try to go right or left. But if I'm just walking and quickly go left, look, it doesn't make a big difference, right? My bind's here. So it's very easy. First, it might feel a little bit weird, but trust me, you need to practice this and you're going to get used to it. Now we have two important binds left, which is going to be the bind for the crouch and bind for the mantle/sprint. Now for me, both of these are extremely important, but during this current meta, sprint is a lot more important. So we're going to be utilizing that for your controller to make sure you're smooth. Now you're going to use your touchpad for your sprint. And it doesn't really matter what you bind your map to, because map is not as important as sprint, right? So you're going to bind your sprint to your touchpad. And you might be wondering, Splashy, how am I actually going to press this now? I have nowhere to go. But you actually can if you play non-claw no paddles. So if you put your finger, right, your index finger, and you hold your controller normally, you can actually drag it up and touch your touchpad next to the L1 or R1 bind. So whatever hand you're more comfortable with, you can just drag the index finger a little bit forward and you can press the top of the touchpad without losing momentum in fights. So that's going to be the secret to being able to do everything smooth. Now when it comes to the crouch bind, we actually have to sacrifice this bind a little bit, boys. So we're going to be putting our crouch down to X. Now, I know it's not ideal, but you play non-claw no paddles, so it's impossible to be completely smooth. It's nearly impossible to be smooth non-claw no paddles, but these binds are going to be the absolute best for you. Now, when you put crouch to X, you don't, crouch is very important, yes, but it's not as important as the other binds that I gave you right now. And why we put it on X is because X is the closest to R3. So when you lift your thumb from the R3 button, it's going to go to X, which it will be the fastest button that you can possibly use. Now keep in mind, it's going to take some time to get used to this, boys. If you're going to switch your binds, or if you just want to switch 1 or 2 binds, trust me, you're going to improve a lot. So the final binds for non-claw no paddles are L3 edit, R3 jump, switch mode at down D-pad, right D-pad pickaxe, and crouch is going to be X, and mantle is going to be touchpad. Now, if you listen to everything I said and how you're meant to press them correctly, you're going to improve so much playing non-claw no paddles with these binds. Alright, so now we're in non-claw plus paddle players. This is my favorite controller grip. This is the best controller grip. I don't care what anybody says. This is the best one. Every pro, every creative warrior you know out there, most of them use non-claw plus paddles because 1, it doesn't hurt your fingers, and 2, you get extra buttons on your controller which are super easy to access. So when it comes to non-claw no paddles, our mission is to keep our thumbs on L3 and R3 at all times, just to make sure that we're always safe and always smooth when we fight and don't lose momentum. That's the most important thing, boys. So we're gonna first go over the paddle binds. So we're gonna be going with left paddle as jump and right paddle as switch mode. Now I'm only doing 2 paddles in this video because that's what I use and that's what most people use, because the PS4 paddles that you get with the attachment, it only gives you 2 paddles. If you happen to have more paddles, you can try adding more binds to it, but you don't need to, you only need 2. So left paddle jump and right paddle switch mode. These are probably 2 of the most important binds to use on controller, apart from edit bind of course, because when you jump and when you go to your switch mode, you want to make sure you don't lose momentum in fights. Now your edit bind is going to be L3 edit. Why L3 edit? Because your finger, your thumb actually is always on the left stick, it's always there. So when you're fighting, when you're building, when you're tarping endgame, whatever you're doing, you can always get access to editing without losing momentum because your thumb is always there. Now when it comes to the R3 bind though, we're gonna put crouch there. Now crouch is extremely important in fights because if somebody tries to enter your box, or you're running and you need to crouch and then crouch slide, you're gonna be able to do it with little to no effort. Now we have 2 important binds left. We have the sprint bind and we have the pickaxe bind. So we're going to be putting our pickaxe bind at the down D-pad and the sprint at the right D-pad. And you're going to wonder, Splashy, how am I meant to do it if you said that you're not meant to remove your thumb from the L3 stick at all times? Well, basically, I'm going to give you guys a secret which I taught people that use non-claw no paddles. So basically, when you have your thumb on the L3 stick, you can actually move it up the stick and press both down D-pad and right D-pad with the back of your thumb. So your thumb, right, if you just drag it up a little bit, you can actually press them at the same time. So if you look now in game, if you look bottom right, my pickaxe is down D-pad right here. So when I'm moving, I can just walk like this, right? And I can just go to my pickaxe as I'm walking, and I'm smooth. I can do this smooth. You guys see, I'm not losing momentum. I'm jumping. I can bring out my bind, everything. You see, I'm very smooth. It's because you can actually access the down D-pad with your L3 stick and you're having your thumb there at the same time. It's very easy. Now you cannot do this with R3 because R3, as you guys can see, R3 is where you look around. So if I'm just trying to go right and press X, look, it drags the whole character. But if I'm doing it with L3 and then going to a down D-pad, I'm only moving a little bit like this. And I can get away with it, look. I can get away with it, as you guys can see. Because when you're moving with L3, right, if I move left and I time it, but I'm moving right, I can switch directions. That's going to make you so good at the game. And then when it comes to sprint, it's very easy. I just have it as my right D-pad, as you guys can see. I can just go like this, and I can be smooth and not lose momentum at any time. I'll put up a screenshot right here on how you can do it, and I'll probably have already in the video so you guys can learn how to do it. Now when it comes to your confirm and reset, you want to make sure your confirm is L1 and your reset is R1. Now I also recommend edit on release, but I do not recommend reset on release unless you're somebody that doesn't like doing drag resets. Then you can just have both of them on, but these are going to be the binds for you. So if we go over the binds one more time for non-claw plus paddle, it's going to be left paddle jump, right paddle switch mode, L3 edit, R3 crouch, down D-pad pickaxe, and right D-pad sprint. And then L1 is confirm and R1 is reset for your editing. Now we're going to be going over claw grip. So claw grip is very popular actually, and a lot of people just play right claw grip because double claw is very, you don't need double claw, but I'm also going to go over double claw for those who want to know more about double claw. So when it comes to single claw, our mission is the same as any other grip. You want to make sure your thumbs are always on the L3 stick and R3 stick. So we're going to be starting off with switch mode. The switch mode bind is going to be triangle, boys. So when you're holding your claw grip on the right side, you can press triangle without effort As you guys can see, I'm doing it right here. I don't play claw, but I'm just showing you guys an example. It's very easy to do. And then because your triangle is your switch mode, you want to access jump easily, you need to put circle as your jump. So both of those buttons are very close to each other and your finger doesn't have to move that much. Now if it's too close, you can put your X as jump instead of circle, because I can understand that some people might not like it being too close. So either circle jump or X jump, try both out and see which one you like more. Now your edit bind is going to be L3 edit, and then your crouch bind is going to be your R3 bind. So when you're always having your thumb on the left stick, it's going to be very easy to access, and a lot of people think that L3 is only a non-claw bind for edit, but it's actually important to have it also for claw players. Because your thumb is always there, so why not utilize it to the best that you can, right? And then R3 crouch is very important because your thumb is always there as a claw player, right? So when you access crouch there, it's going to be easier to win fights, to move around the map when you're crouch sliding versus regularly crouching. Now your pickaxe bind and your sprint bind are both left. So your pickaxe bind is going to be your down D-pad and your sprint is going to be your right D-pad. And if you didn't watch any other bind in the video, you would know this, but I'm gonna show you guys right now. You can actually access both of these binds with your L3 stick having the thumb on it. So you can just drag your L3 stick with the thumb up to the down D-pad and the right D-pad, and you can press them without effort. This is something not a lot of controller players know, so I'm gonna show you guys right now. So I'm moving in game, as you guys can see, I'm just running, and then as you guys see bottom right, my down D-pad is my pickaxe, and I play non-claw with paddles. So this is how it looks. As you guys can see, I can move around and press it at the same time. And I'm smooth. I can jump, I can bring out switch mode, I can do everything. And then when it comes to my sprint is also right D-pad. So I can just run and I can be smooth because I can just drag my thumb with the L3 stick to those two binds, down D-pad and right D-pad. You cannot do this with R3 because R3, as you guys can see, is your actual look around. Whilst L3 is just how your character moves, and it doesn't really hurt when you go left a little bit just to press the pickaxe. I've done this for 2 years and this works for claw players, so why not? And then even for claw, you want to make sure your confirm is L1 and your reset is R1. I recommend confirm edit on release. I don't recommend reset on release unless you're somebody that doesn't do reset drag edits, then don't do it. But these are generally the two binds that every controller player must have. The confirm and reset for everybody should be the same. So the final binds for claw are going to be triangle switch mode, circle or X jump, down D-pad pickaxe, right D-pad sprint, L3 edit, R3 crouch, L1 confirm, and R1 reset. Now if you happen to play double claw grip, then don't worry, I'm gonna make this very easy for you. What you want to do is you want to go into the claw section of this video and you want to go to the single hand claw, which is the right claw grip, which I just went over with the binds, and you just want to copy those binds and play double claw grip. But you don't want to move your L3 to the down D-pad. You want to use your index finger because you're playing double claw, right? So that's as easy as this sounds. You just copy those claw grips from the earlier in the video and you just apply them for double claw. Now me, I do not recommend double claw at all, but if you play it, you should copy the binds that I just went over. So yeah, if you guys made it this far into the video, make sure you guys comment GOAT. I want to see you use a grinder, and also make sure to use code Splashy in the Fortnite item shop, boys. It helps me out so much. And yeah, I hope y'all boys enjoyed. Peace out. See you next time.